Do you know how many women walk through life completely unaware of how incredibly magnetic they are? And no, I'm not just talking about physical appearance. There's something far more powerful than that. I'm talking about that subtle essence. That unique way of moving, observing, expressing, and simply being. That can leave a man utterly captivated, even when you don't realize it yourself. The most surprising part. You often underestimate it. You think you don't fit certain beauty standards because by conventional standards, you might think you couldn't possibly be that attractive. But what truly captivates us goes far beyond a slim waist or flawless makeup. It's that quiet confidence, that authenticity that simply can't be faked. It's the energy you radiate when you walk into a room, without even saying a word. Today, I want to talk to you about the clearest signs that you're far more attractive than you think. And that men, no matter how hard we try to hide it, absolutely notice and are deeply affected by. Some of these signs are so subtle. You may not even realize just how powerful you really are. How effective are they? Trust me, we know. Watch this video until the end because the ninth sign is one of the most overlooked by women. But for us, it's one of the most irresistible. I guarantee it. By the time you finish this video, you'll start seeing yourself in a completely different light. Sign number 1, men get nervous around you. This is one of the most genuine, and yet most underestimated, signs. Because often when a man acts awkward, avoids direct eye contact, or even seems slightly embarrassed around you, you might misinterpret it. He might interpret it as a lack of interest, but in reality, the exact opposite is happening. He's so captivated by you that he simply can't compose himself. Look closely. When a man is attracted to a woman who completely dazzles him, his body betrays him. He starts doing things he normally wouldn't. Touching his neck, adjusting his shirt, crossing and uncrossing his arms for no clear reason, or suddenly speaking faster or slower, because he's afraid he might say something foolish. Sometimes he even goes completely silent, as if he doesn't know what to say. And it's not because he has nothing to say. It's because you've taken his breath away. Whether it's his personality or insecurity, it's because your presence throws him off balance. Because there truly are women who don't just attract physically. They impose their beauty, their energy, their attitude in a way that can make even the most confident, experienced man feel unsettled. What I'm trying to tell you is that this discomfort is a powerful sign. If you notice that a man who is usually relaxed becomes tense around you, changes his posture, or seems more focused on what he's doing than on what he's saying, believe me, you're having a deep impact. And most importantly, don't downplay it, dim the light so he feels more comfortable. No, do the opposite. Use that power. Because if a man gets nervous around you, it means he sees you as worthy of more than just small talk. Sign number 2, people keep glancing at you, even without saying a word. It might seem trivial, but it's one of the strongest and most underestimated signs. When a woman is truly attractive, even if she doesn't realize it, the environment feels it. You might think you're simply walking into a cafe or standing in line. But in reality, something about you shifts the energy in the room. From our perspective, there's something about you that draws attention. It's not just about someone glancing at you as you walk by. What really matters is that second look. When the person has already passed you but turns around to look again. Do you know what that means? It means something about you left an impression. That couldn't be captured in just a quick glance. That second look is the most genuine way for a man or even other women to confirm that there's something extraordinary about you. And it has nothing to do with whether you're wearing something bold or spent hours planning your look. Sometimes it's simply your walk, your posture, your calm yet magnetic energy. It's not forced, but it's felt. Because true attraction isn't declared, it's sensed. Many women don't even notice it, because they're focused on their tasks, their phones, or just getting to where they need to go. But if you've ever noticed someone glance at you twice as you walk by, without saying a word, trust me, it's a clear sign that you have something truly captivating. Something striking, something unexplainable, yet undeniable. And yes, sometimes we want to say something, but even that fleeting glance speaks louder than words. Sign number 3, you underestimate yourself, but constantly receive compliments. This is one of the clearest and most paradoxical signs that you're far more attractive than you think. Have you ever had one of those days when you don't feel particularly beautiful, but someone still tells you that you look amazing? Or you receive compliments when you least expect them? I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something about you that's absolutely captivating. That's not a coincidence. It's a clear sign that you radiate an energy that draws people in, even when you don't realize it yourself. And this is often true for real women. Women who aren't obsessed with perfection, but who effortlessly awaken something in others. Maybe you think your hair isn't great that day. Maybe you believe your body isn't ideal, or that there's nothing special about your outfit. And yet, the compliments still come. Why? Because your allure goes far beyond the surface. Your attractiveness goes far beyond what you see in the mirror. We as men often can't quite explain it, but we feel it. There's something in your voice, the way you speak, the way you laugh, the effortless way you move through life. That makes us think, this woman has no idea how much of an impact she truly makes. And trust me, that's one of the most magnetic qualities you can have. What's fascinating is that the contrast between how you see yourself and how others perceive you only amplifies this power. Because you're not trying to impress anyone. You're not forcing anything. You're simply being yourself. And that authenticity, combined with your natural feminine energy, creates an attraction that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. So the next time someone tells you there's something special about you, don't brush it off or deny it. Believe it. Because that is you. Sign number 4, they look for excuses to reach out to you. This is a classic sign that many women overlook. When a man feels drawn to you, but doesn't quite know how to express it, he'll find the smallest reasons to get in touch. Instead of approaching you directly, he starts looking for any excuse to talk to you. And often, these excuses revolve around seemingly trivial things, like asking for help with a specific task, requesting an explanation, asking for a recommendation, or needing a small favor. At first glance, it might seem innocent, but trust me, it's not. We men, when we're attracted to a woman, look for reasons to talk to her, to create opportunities for closeness without making it obvious that we're flirting. This especially happens when the woman, she intimidates us a little, simply because we really like her. We won't come up to you directly to give you a compliment, but we'll ask you about something small and unimportant, just to have a reason to be near you. And it's not just a one-time thing. If you notice that this person constantly finds excuses to text you, call you, approach you, or be around you for even the smallest reasons, that's a very clear sign. Because the truth is, it's not about what he's asking for. What really matters is his true intention. And often, you might not even pay attention to this. It may seem normal to you, even charming. But if you look closely, you'll realize that these little things are just an excuse for something more. They want to be near you, to build a connection, and to get your attention. So the next time someone asks for your help with something, they could easily do themselves. Notice whether it's accompanied by a nervous smile, a different tone of voice, or an intense gaze. Because sometimes a simple, "Hey, how do you do that?" is actually saying, "I don't know how to approach you, but I want to be close to you." Sign 5. Women criticize you for no real reason. Yes, I know this part isn't pleasant, but we need to talk about it honestly. Because when a woman is truly attractive, not just physically, but in the way she radiates energy, not everyone around her responds positively. And it's not because you're doing anything wrong. In fact, in most cases, you're not even trying to stand out. Yet you might notice that some women look at you strangely, make passive-aggressive remarks, or criticize you for things that, honestly, aren't even worth mentioning. It doesn't make sense. As if there's something too much about you. Too confident, too beautiful, too well put together. Or even too friendly. And I want you to understand this. Unjustified criticism isn't really aimed at you. It's aimed at what they feel when you're around. Because your attractiveness can make other people, especially insecure women, look at themselves more critically. And that unintentionally triggers a reaction. Have you ever been called arrogant, even though you didn't say a word? Or noticed someone trying to compete with you in something you weren't even participating in? If you're wondering why, there's your answer. It doesn't mean all women will react this way. Many, on the contrary, will admire you, be inspired by you, or want to be closer to you. But when you start noticing unjustified criticism, unpleasant glances, or comments meant to dull your shine, don't take it personally. Take it as a sign that you're shining brighter than you realize, because your energy, your presence, your way of living, can genuinely make people who are insecure feel uncomfortable. And while that may be unfair, it's also one of the undeniable signs that you're far more magnetic than you think. The clearest signs that you're very attractive, even if you haven't fully realized it yet. Sign 6. People smile at you without even knowing you. Has this ever happened to you? You're walking down the street, in a supermarket, or riding public transport, and suddenly someone, especially a man, smiles at you. For no obvious reason. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't know you. He's not even trying to start a conversation. But he smiles. Sometimes shyly, as if embarrassed you noticed. Other times more confidently, as if to say, I see something special in you. Wow, what an energy this woman gives off. And while it might seem insignificant, it's not. That smile reflects what you radiate. Because when a woman is truly attractive, and again, I'm not just talking about physical beauty, she radiates something. It's felt in her walk, in her gaze, in the way she simply exists. There's something about her that naturally draws people in, and that magnetism makes many men, even when you don't say a single word, smile at you. It's a kind of silent greeting, a quiet I like you but I'm not. I know how to approach you, and it's no coincidence. This is one of the subtlest, yet most sincere signs that your presence leaves an impression, because a spontaneous smile can't be forced. It appears involuntarily, and it's a direct response to the energy you unconsciously radiate. So the next time someone smiles at you for no apparent reason, don't ignore it. Don't brush it off, because chances are, you're not trying to attract attention. You're creating it without even realizing it. Sign 7. Men, from a man who's clearly with someone else. Yes, this is a delicate topic, and you might not like hearing it, but it needs to be said. When a woman is truly attractive, her energy does not go unnoticed. Sometimes, even men who are in committed relationships find it difficult not to look at you. Now, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm certainly not saying you're provoking it, but it does happen, and it happens more often than you might think. You're just walking down the street, heading into a cafe, and suddenly, you catch that look, that lingering glance, guilty or uncomfortable about it, because it's not something you're trying to provoke. It's something that naturally happens when your presence carries depth, confidence, and authenticity. That lingering look lasts just a little longer than it should, from someone who is clearly not available, and though they often try to hide it, because they know they shouldn't be looking. Their body betrays them. Attraction isn't always something we can control, especially when it's triggered by something more than just physical appearance. Something deeper, something felt. And here's what matters. You need to understand that it's not your fault. You're not deliberately drawing those glances. It's your essence, your presence, your way of being. That doesn't mean you have to feel. You don't feel awkward or even slightly guilty. On the contrary, it's clear proof that your feminine energy is powerful and magnetic, so much so that it's hard to ignore, even for those who probably should. You attract a lot of attention on social media without even trying. Many men notice it, while you often don't fully realize it yourself. You post a simple photo. No dramatic poses. No revealing outfits. No attempt to seek attention. And yet you still get messages, likes, and comments. Sound familiar? You find yourself wondering, what's so special about this photo? But the truth is, it's not about the photo. It's about you. When a woman is truly attractive, she doesn't need to show off to make an impression. Because the magic lies not only in what's visible, but in what's felt. Your authenticity, your gaze, your natural presence, all of it creates a kind of frequency that can be sensed even from a distance. And trust me, men feel it. In fact, some are even intimidated by it, because they don't know how to handle that much feminine energy in such a subtle, refined form. What's most fascinating is that many of them, ChatGPT scazzle. You're not even fully aware of it. You think you need to do more, show more, or create a more polished image. But your true power lies in your naturalness. It doesn't matter if you show up in a simple t-shirt, without makeup, or just share glimpses of your everyday life. The attention you receive without even trying to attract it is one of the clearest signs that you're far more attractive than you think. Sign 9. Men get flustered in your presence. This is one of the most obvious signs, yet also one of the most misunderstood. Especially when he senses something deep and powerful about her, it can be overwhelming. Surely, this has happened to you. A man shows you a lot of attention, seems genuinely interested, seeks you out, talks to you, gives you compliments. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, he disappears. He pulls away. But then, a few days later, he comes back like nothing happened. You're confused and ask yourself, is he playing games? What does he want? Here's the truth. Often, he's not playing. He's struggling. Yes, struggling with his own emotions. Because when a man feels a real, deep attraction to a woman, when her presence touches something within him, it's not always easy to process. He sees her as exceptional, the attraction can overwhelm him. He might feel intimidated, unsure of what to say or how to act. That's why he pulls away, not because he's not interested, but because he's too interested. And here's the twist. You might think he's not into you, when in reality, he's trying to figure out how to approach you without exposing just how drawn to you he truly is. Some men run because they don't feel good enough. Others come back once they've gathered the courage. But in both cases, they are revealing the same truth. There's something about you, something undeniable, that deeply affects them. It throws them off balance. So the next time a man pulls away for no clear reason and then comes back as if nothing happened, pay attention. It's not always about emotional confusion. Sometimes it's simply attraction he doesn't know how to handle. Sign 10. You don't realize your own power. And this is the most powerful sign of all, because it happens more often than you think. The most attractive women often don't know it, or don't believe it. They go through life doubting themselves, comparing themselves to others, and asking themselves, ChatGPT scazzle, wondering if they measure up, when in reality, they are the ones shifting the energy in the room for the better. And let me tell you this from a man's perspective, it shows. It shows when you walk into a room without trying to draw attention, and yet you do. It shows when you speak simply, without trying to impress anyone, and yet you leave a greater impression than anyone else. Do you know why? Because you're not trying. You're just being. And when a woman lives in that authenticity, she taps into extraordinary power. But here's the catch. When you don't realize it, that power remains only half visible. It's like when the light is on, but you're still under a veil. But when you begin to own it, not from arrogance, but from a calm confidence in your own worth, something shifts. Your body language, your energy, your gaze, it all aligns. And trust me, it's felt. It's felt from a distance. So if any part of you still doubts the energy you radiate, remember this. Your power doesn't manifest when someone else sees it. It manifests when you accept it. Sign 11. Your absence is felt even more than your presence. Let me explain. There are women who, when they walk into a room, immediately draw attention. But then there are others, and you're probably one of them, whose absence is even more noticeable than their presence. As if something dims in the atmosphere when they leave. That warm energy, that natural grace with which you do everything, suddenly vanishes. And we feel it. Maybe no one says it out loud. Maybe even you don't notice it. But trust me, when a woman is truly attractive, it's not just about what she shows. It's about what she makes others feel. And when that presence disappears, the contrast becomes undeniable. The conversations shift. The energy cools down. And without even realizing why, we find ourselves thinking about you. That's what makes you unforgettable. Because you don't just arrive. You linger. In people's memories. On their skin. In their thoughts. Sometimes without even trying. Sometimes without even knowing. So if you've ever noticed someone watching you as you leave, or if someone texts you later with a simple, "Hey, you left," don't brush it off. It's just another way of saying, "Your presence touched me," and ChatGPT scazzle. It's impossible to fake. It's something you carry naturally. Sign 12, silence around you isn't awkward, it's intense. Listen closely, because very few women notice this. But we, as men, absolutely feel it. When a woman is truly attractive, there's no need to fill every second with words. Her mere presence generates such a powerful, enveloping energy that even silence becomes magnetic. Have you ever been with someone, and suddenly the conversation pauses, but he doesn't fidget, doesn't look around, doesn't check his phone. He just stays. He stays close to you, as if he doesn't need anything else. That's not a coincidence. That's pure attraction. It's not that he doesn't know what to say. He's just processing what he feels for you. He may not express it, but inside he's thinking, "Why do I feel so good just looking at her? How can someone affect me this deeply?" Without even saying a word. That comfort in silence, that effortless intensity, it can only be sparked by a woman who radiates something far beyond the physical. A woman who communicates serenity, depth, mystery, and who ChatGPT scazzle. Silence is already a form of communication. So if you notice that a pause arises between you and a man, but he doesn't leave, doesn't feel awkward, and doesn't rush to change the subject, it means your energy is already speaking for you. And when that happens, believe me, you've already captured his heart, without even trying. Now I want to ask you something. How many of these signs have you noticed in your everyday life? Have you ever caught someone giving you an unusual look, or receiving attention without even? If you understand why this happens, tell me in the comments, because I'd love to hear your story. Sometimes, what you don't notice in yourself, others feel very deeply. By sharing your experience, you might come to recognize the power that already lives inside you. If this video helped you see yourself in a new light, if it helped you realize that there's something in you that doesn't need to be explained or validated, don't leave without liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. Because here, we don't just talk about surface-level things. Here, we talk about energy, about presence, about that magnetism you can't buy or fake. It can only be felt. Never underestimate what you radiate. The way you walk, the way you look, the way you live. It leaves an impression. Esperar o esite yuri ChatGPT. And often, while you're busy wondering if you're good enough, others are already longing for the chance just to be close to you. So yes, you're already far more than you think. And this is only the beginning. See you in the next episode.